Alright, gonna start up in 3, 2, 1, go.
Game resumed.
Alright, hello everybody and welcome back to game number 2 of this series between Lucifron and Stardust in the third group stage of Dreamhack Summer. In the top left of the map, which is Akalon Waste, we have our green Terran player winning game number 1 with some nice Hellbat drop action and army control in the battles. Representing Team Mousesports, he is Lucifron. And in the bottom right, representing My Insanity, the red Protoss player. And not looking too good after game number 1, but let's see if we can bounce back here in the second game and maybe take 2 in a row to take the series. His name is Stardust.
Yeah, that really was an impressive game from Lucifron last time. It really just showed how good his control is, how just those really smart little decisions he made. He decided, okay, so I should put all my Hellbats inside the medevac so I can fly him over and drop him on top of the army, or even just having his medevac tank a little bit of the photon overcharge damage so he can kill off the Nexus. Just little stuff like that really puts him kind of a leg up on all the other foreigners in the world. It's pretty crazy.
Yep, and I don't want to discount the fact that he catching those High Templar out on the retreat back to the base.
That helps.
That was really important because each of those Templars had, I think, at 2 storms in them at the very least, and losing those, we saw how effective some of those storms were, but you just need, like, Stardust needed a couple more to really do the damage he needed to actually DPS through the medevac heals and make sure you actually kill off those bio units you're storming, so...
Especially like the Marauders and the Hellbats, they take a couple more storms than the Marines do to kill them off, so usually one perfect storm isn't enough to kill off a mostly Marauder Hellbat army.
Yep. And it looks like we're going to see a very similar opening from Lucifron in this game, and from Stardust as well. But let's see if Stardust changes his reaction here as well. I mean, he dealt with the first Hellbat drop pretty well, but lost a fair number in the subsequent ones. Like, once you get, like, 1 medevac full of Hellbats, it's like, alright, I can keep track of that. 2 medevacs with speed boost full of Hellbats, harder to really keep a hold of, and that seemed to be what happened there in the last game as well, with the second set of drops.
Ooh, interesting thing from Lucifron here, he seems to be building a second rack since it's a little bit hidden here. Stardust has not seen it yet, so this could be 2 racks Reaper, or he could use this to kind of, after he goes for his initial Reaper, he can build a reactor in this barracks and then build a tech lab on the other one and kind of go for the more old school MKP 2 racks where you like build concussive shell, go and attack with some Marines and Marauders. But I'd really like to see 2 racks Reaper. It can be pretty powerful against Zerg or against Protoss when you get enough Reapers to be able to overwhelm Stalkers.
And we'll see what happens when he turns out. I mean, when he finishes this first Reaper and see what unit he goes for next. If it's another Reaper, then almost certainly be 2 racks Reaper. I would say that makes a lot of sense. But let's see what he decides to go for here. And well, he's queuing up Reapers everywhere. So.
Yep, it looks like he's going 2 racks Reapers. This will be really good for him. The nice thing is it'll be so tough for Stardust to realize this is actually 2 racks Reaper up until he sees that third one.
Wow, he's really gonna find this pylon. Wow.
Oh, that's so cool that he found that proxy pylon.
Stardust, I'm pretty sure that's a tech hiding pylon, and that's...
Yeah, that really does look like one, especially because he has 2 gases that he's mining 3 on. That looks like a proxy Stargate kind of hiding pylon. So that could... His plans are completely sniffed out there. He's still sending a Zealot across the map, but Lucifron does have a wall off this game as long as he lifts up this depot, so he should be pretty fine, or against that, it's just he needs to get these Reapers over here to kill off this pylon, and he'll be doing pretty well.
And yeah, well, if he brings his little Reapers over here, both of them, he'll definitely show his hand, and actually he realizes that and pulls 1 Reaper away. And I don't think the second Reaper was seen by the pylon, but the Mothership Core gonna spot them out, so now the jig is also up for Lucifron, so both players know what's happening, but a little less in advance for Stardust than for Lucifron, unfortunately for him. But here do come the 2 Reapers, and is there a Stalker on the way? Yes, we do have one being current boosted out, but Stardust loses that pylon. That's a supply block as well. And actually, he already has 1 Stalker done as well. So he has 2 Stalkers, which should be enough to deal with this for the most part, but could lose a couple of probes here.
Yeah, but also over in Lucifron's base, Stardust did actually walk a Zealot in and put it on hold position in the mineral line, which wasn't good because the SCVs started attacking it. The Zealot lost all of its shield without doing any damage, so the Zealot overall did not kill any probes or kill any SCVs. Big bummer for Stardust, but now he does have the Mothership Core over there poking out. So this is going to be kind of a who can do the most damage type thing. Is it going to be the Reapers on one front, or is it going to be the Mothership Core and Zealot on the other one? And my vote is probably going to be for the Reapers.
Yep, Mothership Core are going to try and bounce these Marines back and do what damage to them they can. But once the next couple of Marines pop out, the Mothership Core should be in a bit of a tougher situation. Does lose both those first 2 Marines, though, which has been annoying, and can't complete this barracks for the life of him, but here come more Marines, and that should be enough. But the Reapers, on the other hand, are taking out the Stalkers, which is something you really never want to see as a Protoss player.
No, definitely not. Oh, great spawn by that 1 Stalker to be able to kill off a retreating Reaper, and then Lucifron lost another one with a little bit of miscontrol. So having those 3 Reapers instead of 5 is a really big deal. 5 is the amount when you can start to really fight Stalkers, and 3 not so much. So This is really gonna help push back Lucifron's aggression, but he is going up to his 3rd command center right now, and another barrack. So Lucifron is gonna have a pretty decent economic lead here if he can hold on to these 3 CCs.
He's gonna try and control and man fight the Stalker. He's doing a pretty decent job of it. But here comes another Stalker to help with the backup there. Does kill that one Stalker, and these Reapers will regen. So nicely done there. But well, with continuous Stalker production at this point in time, there's really not a whole lot Lucifron can continue to do with these Reapers. Might actually lose another one. Not quite.
Oh man, his control is really good. He's going up to 2 reactors and a tech lab right now, so Lucifron currently does not have anything producing. He's going to need to throw it on this bunker to help deal with the Stalkers that are coming across the map, which this should be done by the time the army gets here, and if it isn't, it'll be really close to being done. So this should be a pretty tight hold from Lucifron, but I think he'll be able to do it, especially saving a little bit of time with these Reapers. That's what I think he's doing, is trying to delay a little bit of time for his bunker.
Yep, and the bunker should finish here, and the 4-gate pressure will likely not do a tremendous amount of damage once that bunker is up. I mean, he'll have to invest in sentries to try and wall off and stop a repair, assuming Lucifron does pull to help with that. And 2nd bunker even on the way, so Lucifron playing, not playing any games here, well, other than StarCraft 2. But
no, definitely not.
No games in the sense that he's playing it safe here, and that's certainly a very smart thing to do. And with that Marauder as well, not a whole lot of Stalkers are able to do against that, but...
And Stim on the way, Factory coming up, so Lucifron's going to start tacking up, going to get more towards his bio play. He's going to try to get his Stim and Combat Shield up, try to move towards Medivacs, maybe get a couple of Hellbats thrown into the composition, but it'll be mostly bio for him for sure, so... And
with the Reapers, with actually the Stalkers across the map now, Lucifron forcing some Warpins at home to defend against these Reapers, the Reapers that have come back in. Might lose a Reaper here, target fire. Oh, not quite. This guy just does not want to lose these Reapers. And, well, any units warped in back at home, or units that aren't at the front for Stardust at the moment, which is
exactly
not what happening. But both players are on 2 bases, so it's not like either player is losing a tremendous amount. We do see actually going for these rocks at the backside. Lucifron needs to anticipate. He needs to anticipate this, or else he could be in a lot of trouble. Because these bunkers, I mean, this one kind of defends against it, but you won't have to attack both these bunkers at once. You can attack them one at a time, which is a really nice thing to do when you're a pro-house player, avoiding one of the bunkers at all costs if you can. And
he'll be able to get a good
there as well.
If he'll be able to get a good concave around the bunkers, you won't have to be walking up a ramp. These Reapers are getting surrounded by probes in the main base. That's getting killed off. Hopefully Lucifron can go back to his main base and start focusing and realize that he has a pretty big flank potentially coming from Stardust. Yep, he does realize that he's throwing down more bunkers. He has a decent amount of Marines and Marauders, but I don't know if this is going to be enough because these Stalkers can just run right up into the main base.
Yep.
Yeah, he's going to need SCVs.
There's even going to a cancel on the 2 bunkers that are building, so that's a bit of an annoyance for him. He's going to start picking out some supply depots as well. And, well...
Block Lucifrons. That's not good. He's not going to be able to produce any more units.
He's going to kill another one here in a second, unless... we do see the Stim in, and, well, the Surround as well. He can recall it if he needs to, unless the Mothership Core gets picked off, which doesn't look like it is, but the recall is not... Does he have enough mana for it?
He does, yeah. He has enough mana for recall. He's deciding really not to do it. It's interesting choice. I mean, he is doing a good job right here. He's killing off more reactors, killing off supply depots. He's trading pretty cost efficiently here. So I like this idea from Stardust to stay in here because he is killing off quite a few SCVs.
Yeah, and, well, can try and maintain the pressure as long as he can here. And Lucifron just building up units and trying to delay this as long as he can, repairing the reactors that are being targeted down. But only so much you can do here, because SCVs, when they go down to repair, they get picked off, so that kind of sucks. And, well, there's reactor dead, and, well, one Stalker to kill his barracks very, very slowly.
Yep, and this isn't looking very good for Lucifron. He doesn't have a huge amount of workers. Stardust is building 3 more gateways, so he's going to have 7 gates to be able to produce off of, and, yep, Lucifron's going to have to go for this right now. He's going to have to go for this big attack, try to surround his SCVs, get all in there with all of his units, but a time warp on the ramp, really helping delay the reinforcements, and this is going to be a very close hold from Lucifron.
Yeah, I mean, he will force it back, and all the Zealots being knocked down, but he can rebuild that buffer pretty simply, but it looks like Stardust can be content and just leave. He doesn't really want to attack into this again, and I mean, I can't really blame him. I mean, both of them are mining off of 2 bases, and Lucifron also has mules, so as far as production goes, even though there's Warp Gate and allows you to produce right next to your opponent, really can't keep up enough production to roll over Lucifron right now, and just other than just trade even, so I think
it would have been nice to see him build those 3 gates just slightly earlier. That way he could have gone in there and attacked with more units slightly faster, because Lucifron just barely held. He just barely got out there the moment the Medivacs popped. He could head out there and try to kill off Stardust, and it just barely worked. So
yeah.
It's a good defense from Lucifron for sure, but he is still down in SCVs.
That is certainly a pain to deal with, and we could see some drops here though pretty soon. I don't think Blink is complete. Nope, it's not even started researching yet. But we have 1/1 upgrades on the way for Stardust as well. Currently boosting them off 2 forges. and 1-1 on the way for Lucifron as well. So on very similar upgrades, and working on them very similarly as well. The supply block from Lucifron hurting a little bit as well, but that's just those depots going down earlier. It's a bit annoying. But he's going to go right at the front here of Stardust and stimming and going to maybe go in. Yeah, there he
These force fields going to be good. Yeah, the forces are cutting up pretty well, but he is losing a lot of zealots because all this can still attack behind, and this is
so many medevacs is the thing. I mean, that's the only reason this is still working out as well as it is. And Lucifron's just trying to trade here, it looks like, because he knows he can pick up and just run away, and he will do just that. And, well, does a fair bit of damage, and I believe he did kill the Marshal Corps there as well. I think he did.
He did not kill the Marshal Corps.
Where did he go? Oh, it ran away over there.
Main base, which is good. Lucifron looks like he's going to drop back at the natural. He's going to try to head on in for round 2 of this attack. And like you said with the medevacs, they just give this army so much staying power. He can keep on doing stuff like this, keep on floating back in and out, keep on healing up his units, and this might be a little bit of an overextension here. I don't know about this.
Yeah, he's playing it really greedily. He knows he can get out with the speed boost, but he needs to pick these guys up pretty quickly here. He's going to lose a lot of medevacs, actually, to these stalkers. And, yeah, one drop too many there, I think, trying to play it a bit cheeky. I mean, the walk distance wasn't that big between the natural and the main on this one, so yeah, a little bit of an overextension there. And, well, neither player able to quite take a third as of yet, and, you know, both players are just attacking constantly, so there's no time to do that.
Yeah, exactly.
We do see the Templar Archives now on the way for Stardust, and he will have the natural upgrade advantage just due to the fact that he has Chrono Boost if he wants to use it, so that's certainly nice to have as well. And he could go for just Zealot Archon here, potentially, or maybe just Warp Gate. Oh, he's adding on our box facility now, but that could just be for observers.
Right,
but we'll see.
Yeah, I think that might just be for observers, because this Templar Archives I think would be a good choice. He hasn't seen any ghosts come out from Lucifron. He hasn't seen anything like that. There aren't a huge amount of medevacs, so Storms would be incredibly powerful here, as would Archons, which can just do a really good job of splash damaging down the bio.
Yep, and we do see the first third base taken by Lucifron, so nice little advantage there. And his upgrades are not that far behind. He's doing about as well as he could, honestly, considering he's against a Cross player. Even getting the +1 vehicle and ship plating, that'll help the medevacs last a bit longer against those stalkers, which is actually, well, when you play Lucifron style and it involves a lot of dropping, a lot of medevacs being in the middle of a fight, you really want those medevacs to be as tanky as possible.
Yeah, but it really does help out for the Widow Mines too, which he's building a decent amount of. He's starting to produce them one at a time off his factory, so they really help sprinkle in a little bit. They can give him kind of some space control, because you don't want to just march an army. Like, if you're already kind of on the teetering edge if you want to fight your opponent or not, and then they have some Widow Mines in there, it's usually the kind of thing that's going to push you over. So this will help Lucifron kind of control this area out in front of Stardust's natural, so I like that choice. And looks like he's moving around to kind of check out for a third base here.
Yeah, pick up both the Widow Mines at the front as well with the Observers, so nicely done there by Stardust. Gonna go and clean those up. And, well, Stardust was like trying to go for this third in the right location of the map, as opposed to the kind of more sheltered one with the rocks and such. And I don't really know how I feel about that, because it's a bit farther away, which against someone who's dropping as often as Lucifron is, or as any Terran player should be, it's a bit more annoying to deal with, and I don't know, it's just way easier to defend, and it's nice to put Terran into a choke point and just cut them up with something like Colossus, and it's a much bigger choke going into the third base on the bottom side of the map than it is on the right, I think.
Yeah, but I guess the only reason I could think of that it'd be a good idea is due to the fact that his forges are positioned in the natural. They're kind of forward there. He's going to want to kind of keep his army kind of positioned by those to defend it, so I guess just shooting your army out in front and having him up in this little choke by his new third base would be a good idea, but there is a little bit of an attack going on at Lucifron's third base, easily cleaned up. But yeah, I think that'd be the only thought process I could think of that would be the reason why he would take this third base.
Yeah. And I mean, another thing is, and one thing I know this works for Zerg players, is they usually take that just because because the rocks are a bit harder to destroy as Zerg early on when you make that third base, but you secure the harder third base earlier on, and this gives you a sort of a free fourth base later on in the game. So, which is actually tremendously nice to have, honestly, in a game where, like this especially, where we see a lot of aggression and bases are hard to come by, and if you can have that free base later on, it's a lot easier to secure once you have a nice big army. And we do see some snipes going off in these Templar, and they're being a little aggressive, dropping storms, but I mean, with the medevacs, you don't really gain a whole lot with just running in and trying to pull those storms off.
No, definitely not. And with this wall off at the front from Lucifron, this is really going to make it difficult for Stardust to engage into. He's not going to want to go up there with a bad concave up into bunkers, stuff like that. That's a bad choice. Just like, I don't know how I feel about Lucifron running down this ramp, but Stardust is going to move away. He's going to give him the area after he took that huge EMP to the face and lost all of his Zealot shields.
Yeah, the thing is, well, with Marauders with Concussive Shell, not quite going to be able to do that. He's going to have to lift up and go over that if he wants to pursue, but it looks like he's going around the long way. And Lucifron feels like he has the superior army here, and Well, to be honest, I think he's right. If the ghosts are controlled correctly and EMP on time, there's really no way that Lucifron and Stars can do a whole lot against this, because that's a lot of the buffer value of the Zealots gone. That's a lot of the storms, and that's his only splash damage gone as well. Ghosts need to be careful, though. They're at the front of the fight here, and they might get picked off if they're not careful. Try to get their spells off as best they can. Now we're going to see Lucifron start kiting back. Feedbacks on the Ghosts. Going to start trying to focus on these Zealots, but with charge, and they're chasing in. Here come the Storms, but hurting a lot of Zealots actually more than the Bio there. Storms whiffing just a bit. Lucifron staying just on the range of it and doing a lot of damage in the meantime. Both of them have very low health, but, well, Stardust is at energy. Lucifron still a 40 supply ahead of him. Needs to be careful against these Storms, and the Storms, they're being dodged brilliantly by Lucifron so
Yeah,
far.
they are being dodged so well. The only issue right now is that Stardust 3-3 just finished right now. He did the majority of that battle without it, but now the Zealots are going to be a lot more tanky. There aren't any medevacs here yep, the fact that there are so few medevacs left, you get thrown on a huge storm like that and kind of clean up all of Lucifron's army. I would have liked to see Stardust try to stall any longer than he could have for that big attack to get his 3-3 out, because he attacked right before it was, or he had attacked right before it was done. It's a little bit of a bummer, but now he can push back across that upgrade lead with a little bit of an army supply lead. I guess a little bit army supply deficit, but he has a little bit of lead sitting right here.
Okay, they're fine now, but I would have liked to see, well, Lucifron, I mean, obviously hindsight's 20/20, but he over-pursued that a lot. There's really no doubt about that.
He went way too far, especially after he took that big engagement, he took a kind of a win, and then he went back in when he didn't have very many medevacs. All of his units were in like the orange or red. I think that was a bad choice. You need to realize the storm is gonna come at some point. Your dodging isn't perfect. You're gonna take one storm to the face, and when you don't have any medevacs, that can be very, very costly for you.
I would have liked to see him maybe back up and then pick up some medevacs and go for drops instead. With the much smaller army of Stardust, he's forced to keep them all together as opposed to spreading them out for drop defense. So I feel like he could have maybe. Well, the thing is, now we see these two bases are pretty darn close together, so the drop potential isn't actually quite as nice as you think it would be. So that's another benefit to having these two bases instead, I guess, of the one that's closer to the main base.
Oh, and I see a potential storm drop coming up here by the third base from Stardust. He's gonna move in this Warp Prism with 2 High Templar. If he can get off on all these mules and all these SCVs, that'll help him so much. Yep. There's one storm go down. There's a second one. He's gonna kill off a huge amount of SCVs with this. He has 41 workers killed throughout this whole game, and well, I guess Lucifron's still at 58, so he's still doing pretty fine.
Yep. And yet, no reason really not to do that storm drop. I mean, it's the Templar, the energy builds back up once they get to full. It's just like, oh, gotta do something with this, and he did. Getting a couple SCVs is certainly nice. Against Terran with mules and three orbital commands, it's not the. I mean, they can be replaced quite easily by the mules and more SCVs, but still nice to get for sure. And he didn't lose anything, so it's pretty nice there. But now I'm gonna start patrolling with Vikings. So.
Ooh, good feedbacks there. He's moving with a bunch of High Templar here to try to feed back all the ghosts. But Lucifron has so many high energy ghosts. He's gonna try to pursue these High Templar. Probably get a couple snipes off. I'd like to see these Stalkers kind of head over to the other side and sacrifice their bodies for the High Templar, but it's not really going to happen. I think he'll probably be able to make it out with 2.
Yep. Gets the Observer as well with the scans. That's pretty nice. And Lucifron just kind of trying to hold on to the bit of the lead that he has now, taking this 4th base. There's an Observer there as well. Hopefully he scans and sees that pretty soon here. But yeah, Stardust is going to try and take his own 4th as well here pretty soon in order to try and keep up with this. Because once Terran gets 3 orbitals going, 4 orbitals, sorry, if he makes this another orbital, well, it's going to be really hard to out-economy a Terran who's already ahead in that situation.
Oh yeah, it's going to be very difficult. He is going to make it a planetary over there that'll help defend a little bit, but he already does have 3 orbitals, so I'd be able to triple mule drop, and he should be in a pretty good spot to move in. Now Stardust does have a Dark Shrine. He's starting to warp in a couple harassment DTs, which are going to really tax Lucifron's multitasking. You'll see how well he can deal with stuff like that. And another good storm drop coming in that the Warp Prism gets killed off, so they try to morph it in Archon, which these Vikings will actually kill before it morphs, which is incredible. You don't see landed Vikings killing stuff very often.
No, not too frequently. And this Viking count is getting pretty significant, actually. And in fact, like, he hasn't really seen. There are some Colossus being made. How many Colossus are there on the map right now? There are 4. So yeah, he does need these Vikings. Okay, never mind. I was
that's a lot.
Distracted by these storms, and these Colossus have been hiding in the back the whole time. But well, the DTs once again, like I said, going to work. Planetary about to finish though, but not a whole lot of detection over there. There's the EMP, and that will deal with that DT pretty swiftly. And yeah, we'll see a turret go up over there to help deal with that in the future. And yep, there's one on the way as well. And we should see turrets going up in pretty much every base at the moment. And yeah, looks like that is the case.
Yep, that's a good way to go. You don't want DTs just kind of ravaging up inside your main base and everything. What I like to do is kind of build a bunker like on my ramp up to the natural and put a turret next to it. You can just throw like a couple Marines in there, and then you're pretty fine up in your main base. So it's a good thing to go. But Lucifron's so good at these EMPs at killing off the cloak units that he can probably just deal with it that way.
But here comes an army of... Oh, never mind. I thought Stardust was moving forward to maybe go for something there, but he will back it up just a bit. But he has a decent army. The Zealot count is only 11, and I feel like that needs to be a bit higher.
Yeah, I feel like that too.
The Bio Army, almost 100%. I feel that's the case, but
yeah, you really need the buffer there. I mean, there are a lot of ghosts out, so I understand why he's not getting a huge amount. Ghosts just kind of shred through the Zealots. I'd like to see maybe a couple more Colossus and then most of the rest of that Zealots and High Templar, because you just need the buffer there for your Colossus. You need more things to be able to throw out on Storms and things of that nature, so his army's just a little small in general.
But to be fair, the Bioforce of Lucifron isn't that big, because there's a lot of ghosts taking up a fair amount of supply here. That can be Marauders and Marines as well, and the Vikings too, so not quite as much damage for the Zealots to soak up and maybe try to attack, so maybe not as big a deal, but there are a ton of Vikings here, and not a whole lot of ways to deal with it. How many Stalkers are there? There are 8 Stalkers, and against this many Vikings, you can't storm everything. Like, even if you're a really tremendously good player like Stardust, he's going to have a lot to work with. He wants to feed back the ghosts as well, ideally, but there are so many ghosts that's not even... You can't put a dent in those ghost numbers. Look how many... Jesus, that's so many ghosts.
He has 17 ghosts. That's so many to have out. He has 19. There's 2 more somewhere else on the map, and he's still building 2 more. So he's getting up to kind of the ultimate TVP composition, which is Medevac Ghost Marauder Viking. It's just so much more durable. You can really what you want to do is just trade out all the Marines for Ghosts, because the job Marines do is they kill off the Zealots and they just add general DPS. The Ghosts do a really good job of that. They just cost more and do it in a more bulky fashion, so they're just better if you can get enough of them out. The only issue is that they cost so much money.
Yeah. Another thing, he does actually have cloaking research as well, so if he can take out the Observers and those Ghosts cloak up, not a whole lot that can be done to them.
Yeah, and they can just slaughter everything with that. Yeah, these Vikings are out of the hunt a little bit. They almost found this big flock of Colossus.
Yeah, and there's a lot of up and down terrain stuff, and these Stalkers get lost anywhere along the line, and the Medevacs, I mean, the Vikings do catch out these Colossi out of position. That's certainly a nice thing to do, and no reason not to really kind of float these Vikings around looking for those pickoffs. And, well, Stardust is not really sure what he wants to do with this army. He does have that 4th base up and running now, which is nice to have, and both players getting kind of near max. We should see a big fight here pretty soon. And it's going to come down to what these ghosts are able to get done, because, well, that's pretty much Lucifron's entire army. It's just massive amounts of ghosts.
It's all going to come down to, just like it does in a lot of big TVP engagements, the Ghosts versus the High Templar. Are the Storms going to be good? Who's going to win between the feedback and the snipe battle? But the issue is that there's 5 High Templar and there are 21 Ghosts. So my guess would be the Ghosts are probably going to win because there's just so many. Mm-hmm. He could just lay EMPs down on the entire army of Lucifron, especially because I don't think Lucifron has an observer along with his army. So I don't see one. So if Lucifron just cloaks up and just runs into Stardust's army with a bunch of cloaked ghosts, he can get EMPs off and everything, start attacking stuff unabated. It'll be a huge mess for Stardust for sure.
Yep, and while Lucifron playing it very cautiously is pretty much at max now, as is Stardust, so well, we'll see where the big fight does end up happening. And I mean, they're both on 4 bases. Terran Mine's out a bit faster, so he'll have the onus on him to get a base a little bit quicker than his opponent. We see a bunch of SCVs being sacked at the front, so it looks like he's doing that shift into just going to have a bigger army and less SCVs. So
yep, that's a good way to go, because you can start building more and more orbital commands, and then you can pretty much just have your whole economy live off like 20 SCVs. But a big storm drop going in here at the 4th base, Stardust is going to help Lucifron a little bit of killing off his SCVs, so that's nice of him.
Just what he wants. Very polite, very polite guy. And a lot of SCVs still left here. The Storms, if they don't, well, pretty much nail the SCVs with every single tick of their damage. It doesn't really have that much of a lasting effect. SCV, get him.
Well, there's a DT warping in the main base. This could be pretty annoying for Lucifron to deal with. I mean, he has his whole army pretty close, but he has to run up through his kind of choke point of orbital commands. He has to use some scans. Yep, there we go. He killed that off, so that gives Stardust an opportunity to be able to move the middle of the map a little bit, so that's good that it gives him a little bit of potential army positioning, but Marauder's scouting that out because both these players are just so good on their unit movements.
Yeah, definitely. And, well, yeah, neither's really made an attempt at taking a 5th base quite yet. Looks like Stardust is going to go in and try and take this top right location once again. And we'll see if we can hold on to it. My bet's on no, and we just see actually Lucifron taking the marrying position in the bottom as well. So it's going to be down to who can hold on to these bases, because right now Lucifron, his main's mined out, his natural's probably getting pretty damn close. Yep, is pretty much mined out, and a 3rd base running
really big storms. Yeah, those are really big storms. They kill off almost all the Marines. They made all the ghosts pretty much into the yellow. That'll be fine because these medevacs have a lot of energy. But another thing we have to worry about after this big battle, Stardust has a lot more of a bank. He has a lot more of a bank, and he has 11 gateways. So he's gonna be able to warp in 11 zealots the second the battle's over, and just 22 supply, just like the snap of the fingers. So it'll be able to be so easy for Stardust to be able to reinforce his battle. Lucifron's gonna have to win it pretty decisively to be able to hold off the counterattack.
Lucifron looks like let's see if the Stalkers don't have DPS to take this down. Get a blink under it, and if they can get it to burning, I think it might.
And it's burning.
Barely.
Okay.
Yeah, there we go. So yeah, that is a command center that's not too tremendously useful by itself. So many Vikings as well. This army of Lucifron is just the funniest thing to look at. It's like Viking ghosts. That's all it is.
It's so powerful.
Gonna go ahead and destroy this warp prism. Oh yes, how satisfying.
Oh yeah,
Watching, like,
yeah.
20 billion Vikings just crush it immediately. That was pretty nice to watch. And well, yeah, it's basically gonna be the Templar and the Ghost kind of just like poking back and forth at each other, so you can kind of like do the best harassment to each other right off the bat before the battle. And
There's so many ghosts. 27 out and 5 more coming. He's gonna have 32 ghosts out on the field. It's just gonna be absurdly difficult to deal with. I mean, ghosts are really sturdy. They're not just gonna die to a couple little Colossus beams, especially with enough medevacs overhead. This is gonna be just such a difficult army for Stardust to actually kill off.
yeah, it's such a weird composition, but it does look like it might work. And well, now we have a bit of a situation for Stardust. He's found himself a bit trapped up in this future 5th base area as Lucifron moves forward with this giant army of ghosts. Let's see what he can do. I mean, Stardust just like trying to turn tail and run here, and he can't find anywhere to run. Here comes the ghosts. They are cloaked up. Vikings starting to go to work, and all the High Templar are dead. And these are a lot of very dead Colossus, and this is a lot of dead supply. There goes the storms. Gonna do massive damage to the Vikings, but a bunch of cloaked ghosts, and not a whole lot to stop them. And they're going to work on the
I don't
Stalkers.
think.
Yep. And
Better?
those. I mean, the DPS isn't fantastic, but they can just cloak up whenever they need to, or they're just not going to. They're just going to die occasionally. And most of the ghosts are still remaining, and the High Templar count is down to 11. I don't know where they all were in that fight, but I guess they only just got warped in just now. But
I don't know where they all were.
so Stardust doesn't get his 4th base either. But Lucifron, like I said, going to be the guy who's running out of money first, and he's to get something done to secure a base here pretty quickly.
Okay, after that whole battle, Lucifron still has 27 ghosts out. I mean, he lost quite a bit of his Viking count, pretty much all of his Marines and Marauders, but he just has so many ghosts out still. He can just go in and EMP off all of Stardust's army so quick, and that just instantly makes it so Stardust has half the health on his army. I mean, when you have this many ghosts, you can just do so many great things with them. It's such a rare spot to get to.
We see Stardust trying to take the bottom left location with the Nexus, and it is standing for the time being. Let's see how long that lasts. But Lucifron is, well, he's going right in the front. Storm being dropped to try and discourage these ghosts from moving right on in, but here they do come. Gonna start going to work with their plink, constantly sniping those High Templars remarkably quickly. The box facility is going down, so no more Colossus as well for Stardust, and he's losing a lot of production here, and his army supply just is not there to stop this number of ghosts right now. And there's the cloak up, and yeah, they're gonna start going to work here, and these Colossus just can't DPS these guys down quickly enough.
If the Cloak Ghost is really running, and they're doing such a good job, EMPing off those Colossus helps so much, reducing 100 of their 250 health, so it just makes it so the Vikings can go in and clean them up so easy. Lucifron had just enough Vikings to be able to deal with that with just this one lone Viking at the end of the battle alive, so Lucifron really showing that he just has a really good grasp on what late game TVP unit compositions should be, and his grasp is essentially more and more ghosts.
Yep, and yeah, they're definitely getting the job done here as all these gateways are on power. The production's running low. Stormers do miss on most of the ghosts, and well, we should be Stardust tapping. Should see him tapping out here in a second, and there he does go. So
there's the GG.
Very awesome game from Lucifron. Just seeing that mass ghost play, you don't get to see that every day, and it was really well executed. And I mean, we were a bit scared for him in a couple times there, and I thought like, well, he kind of had to go for it at the end because he didn't have that 5th base, but well, he knows better than we do, and he pushes right on through with this huge number of ghosts and takes the game.
You have such a powerful unit composition. It's crazy seeing Mass Ghost. It almost reminds me of Mass Infestor back from Wings of Liberty. We don't need to go back to those dark days.
No, we do not. So Lucifron actually does take the series 2-0 against Stardust, who ended up winning the tournament. So good plays from Lucifron there to take that series. So I mean, we knew he was one of the better players in the scene. Now that he's not studying and is playing full time, should only get better and better, especially on a team like Mao's. Will certainly have the resources needed to make himself a big name in the scene. And he already is a pretty big one already. So, well, that's that series. We're going to move on and cast one more for you guys. We'll bring that to you very shortly, and we will see you there.